Hello. See if anybody joins me here. You can see this, boys, right there. The modern technology, the Wi-Fi box. See if anybody joins me here. Okay, and there. Feel free to say something in chat if you are there. I am on the road, and hey, there's somebody showed up. See how this goes. This is hey, look at that, Aerosol. All right. Might be just you and I. No, wait. Shift kickers in. Hey, how's it going? And I'm just taking this opportunity. I'm on the road. We are headed to do some hog hunting. Should be a blast, and that's going to happen down in Texas. But I did get some requests. People wanted to know about off-grid living, homesteading, and they had some different questions in terms of how much power do you need? What are some options to reduce power? Those types of things. So that's the chicks are good. Thanks, Eris. The chicks are doing all right. I think we've only lost 4, which I don't know if you've ever raised chicks, meat birds, but only losing 4 out of 200 is very good. And now they're past that stage where you tend to lose them. Some of them will just come from the hatchery and not be as healthy as you want them to be right away. You need to get electrolytes in them right away because they are shipped from the hatchery, and then you've got to get some water and electrolytes in them right away. So they are doing well. They're eating well, and Texas, that's right. Yeah, we're gonna go do some hunting with Constitution Vet is his handle. By the way, folks, if you haven't checked out his channel, he's got a good channel, Constitution Vet, and he goes over history as it relates to our Constitution. So if you have any questions about off-grid living, feel free to, no, Yogi hasn't been back yet. Thank you, Crazy Ray. Yogi's disappeared. The bear's gone. I don't know. It's kind of odd, too. I mean, it had a good thing going there, the bear. I mean, eating all kinds of food. Hi, Christy. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it had seen an electric fence before and it got scared off by it. We do have electric fence on. It said, hey, I'm out of here. Okay, so that's a possibility. But anyways, have any of you on the chat here, speaking of off-gridding, yeah, prayers work. I know my kid's praying that the bear doesn't show up. I was trying to make a video out of that, so there's that. But anyhow, just how many of you in the chat right now have thought of going off-grid, have an interest in that subject? That's something that you're quitting. Like, what do you do? Where do you begin? How do you set that up? Because that's what I was going to talk about. We could talk about something else too. That's not the key of the day. Trying to get off grid. I'll help a chance to do some learning about your systems. We're trying to become self-sufficient prior to the collapse. Yeah, it's interesting. Preppers are always overzealous fools until the event that they prep for happens. So I'm going to upload a video speaking like financial prepping. I've got a good video on that I did with a banker, actually. And one thing you find about bankers is they don't really trust the system. I don't know how many of you watched the movie The Big Short. Hi, 223. I'm going to be shooting my 223 at some hogs. So, but what was I saying there? The thing with if you watch the movie The Big Short, the one guy, he was just prepper crazy because he knew the financial system and he just was certain of collapse. So, but for setting up an off-grid system, we did ours fairly inexpensively in the world of off-grid. Here's the deal. My driveway is so long that if I would have brought power in, I would have spent somewhere in the neighborhood of $60,000 to bring power into my house. So people always ask, what's the payback on an off-grid system? Well, mine was immediate. Absolutely immediate. because my off-grid system cost me $25,000, which I know sounds like a lot of money, but if you're going to pay $60,000 to bring power in, obviously $25,000 is a better deal. And now I factored in my batteries, battery maintenance, battery replacement, the panels themselves, and giving them a 30-year lifespan. Then the generator maintenance, and generator gas, and I'm paying about $70 a month in electricity. And we're in one of these areas that are really expensive for electricity. Like people are spending typically somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 a month on their electric bills, and we're at 70, and that's factoring in the cost of the off-grid system. So when you're looking at off-grid and people talk about payback, for most people that takes a long time, because if you're right on the grid, spending the $25,000 like we did, oh, your aunt passed away? But she's not hurting anymore. That's the ultimate healing, 223. That's there's a song about that. At the ultimate healing, we will be home free. Solar, wind, and furnace mesh are what we're looking for with a propane backup. So where do you live, intellectual? I'm curious. Wind is really, it's pretty temperamental. You got to be in the right area for wind. It really typically doesn't produce all that well. So we looked at doing wind, but the cost of putting in wind versus what you would get back was just absolutely nil. So you really had to be in an area where there's winds, and you can go. There's a place on. Do they warranty? Yeah, they do. I've sent a unit back to Midnight Solar under warranty, and they took care of that for me. So you need a charge controller. That's what I have, a Midnight Solar charge controller. So that charge controller is something that has, I think one of the, there was a short inside of it, and so that unit fried and it wasn't working, and then I wasn't getting any power, so I had to send that. And they were actually, the guy who helped me get the solar system was kind enough to borrow me a charge controller. I borrowed a charge controller while the one went to Midnight Solar. That got fixed and came back. So they completely handled it under warranty. They handled it fairly quickly, I guess. I mean, I had to ship it out there in Washington. I'm in Minnesota. They had to ship it back, and I think it spent a week, 3 days in there to turn it around. So that's the deal on that. So they do warranty. Midnight Solar has had a good warranty for me. And then you have to, Missouri, yeah, they got windmills all over down in Missouri. I'll drive through Missouri here, but so that's, you need that. I got an Outback inverter, and so that's worked out really well for me. Outback Power Systems, and that's what we can control the input coming from the generator, and what we can see what's coming in through the control box. So all of that is, the whole system is regulated. So you need a charge controller and inverter, because you're bringing in DC power, converting it to AC, and then you need the charge controller, because otherwise too much power will come in through the sun and it'll fry your batteries. But it is amazing, folks, when you go on solar, because the sun comes on and just all of a sudden you have power. It's like magic. It's just wild. So that's how that works out. But let's see. So you got your panels. We run 4,000 watts of panels. We got a decent deal on the panels. They weren't what the guy who installed our solar typically uses. So the ones that he typically used would have cost us a little over twice as much. I had him get some different panels. We paid about $1 a watt for our panels. So 4,000 watts, $4,000. Then we had to have those put up on a pole mount. Okay. So the poles had to be sunk into the ground. The wire had to be trenched. That came up, and then ran the panels. So then there was the wiring, the trenching, all of that. All of that is figured into that $25,000. And then the battery bank was extremely expensive. So the batteries, you'll spend a lot of money on batteries. I want to say that was probably about $7,000, and we only have 16 batteries, but they're big, deep cycle batteries, so they just run a lot of money. Yeah, DC has a lot of windmills, but the wrong kind. Truth. Um, that's why they called Chicago the Windy City, was because all the politicians stopped through there, and they're just windbags. So, anyways, so that's with you need the panels, you need the batteries, charge controller, inverter, um, and then we've got a trimetric meter that tells us everything that's going on with the system, so we can always see that and regulate that. So, anyways, that's when you go off grid. There's a number of challenges you'll run into. You have to keep your batteries. You have to maintain the batteries. So I'm always filling those with distilled water. So you have to do that. The generator invariably breaks down, so you can get back. Then you can get another one fixed because it goes down when you need it most. And additionally, you're going to be filling up gas in your generator in the winter all the time if you live in the northern climates. So it's a little bit more rugged type living, but I think most people can handle that. Interestingly, people talk about, oh, that's got to be tough, that's got to be challenging. It's tough. People used to have to run down to the creek to get their water, so and that creek might have been a ways away. So we still have all we have to do is go start the generator. Again, it's just interesting how people interpret what's tough anymore. So that's I don't know, just thoughts on that. I know that's a little philosophical. I saw Nick had a live going. Yeah, just let this play in the background on mute if you want to. I'm just gotta get my watch hours up over here. It's so funny. YouTube, they won't monetize my main channel, so then now I'm doing this other channel, and a lot of it is more of my personal interest and more rugged individualism, more living off the grid, hunting, those types of activities, getting in nature, exploring, all of that. So that's and I've got an AT&T Wi-Fi box, so I don't know. I may lose connection here. If I do, that just is what it is. But what other questions do you have on off-grid? Who else is looking at that? I built my own house. We were looking to Stedman, Missouri for 5K for 5 acres here in Colorado. The land out there, we're off the plains. If you got that's lots of wind. So you can totally go with a windmill out there. Interestingly enough, folks, small scale off-grid works, small scale solar, small scale wind, and the reason it works is because you moderate your power usage around when there's wind or when there's sun. Most people just use power when they want to use it. That's why it doesn't work on a large scale, because if you're just going to do your laundry at night, let's say most people are working during the day, they do their laundry at night, well, there's no sun, so you don't have that power coming in. And so what we do is we do laundry when the sun is shining. We wash our dishes, again, when the sun is shining, and the best hours of solar is 10 to 2. So that's when you're doing the bulk of your stuff. But if you just want to use power like you typically use power, it's really hard. You have to kind of balance that around. You have to be a little bit more reactive and proactive at the same time. Proactively getting lots done, reacting or reactive based upon sun and wind. So that's a little bit about off-grid living. I mean, it's not for everyone, I don't imagine. A lot of people just want to be hooked up to the grid, have their power when they get it. But the beautiful thing is when the power goes out and the lines are down, I've got power. My neighbors are always like, didn't you know the power was out? I'm like this. No, I didn't. So it's that's just its own thing. So we've always appreciated that. But I guess let me see what else. I built the house myself. It is when you're trying to build a house and do your work, and you're running out of money. That's a process. So You know, and right now, obviously with materials being so sky high, I don't know why anybody would want to build right now, unless you were to bring a wood miser out, you know, a portable sawmill, and then mill the stuff yourself, and that's a good option for you. So those are just some thoughts on that. You know, City Bear, you can be jealous, but you know, the fact is, a lot of people just would not like it. I mean, it really is. You know, when the snow comes, Crazy Ray, and it covers the panels, you got to go out there and sweep them off. So we do that in the winter all the time. We're always, you know, knocking snow off the panels because otherwise you've got no sun. And here's what's really interesting: in the winter, you get more power from the sun than you do in the summer. It's just you have less hours of it. And there's 3 reasons it works out that way. One is electricity conducts better in the cold. You guys know that, right? You do those superconductors where they always test those in those really super cold environments. Okay, so that's how they get the maximum capacity out of those lines in the conductivity. So you've got that going for you. 2, you don't get the dirty air currents from China, and that actually does affect because then you have clearer skies. And then number 3, the snow reflects the sun. So just think you're not only getting the sun rays as it's hitting the panel, but you're also getting, you know, the sun's hitting the snow down here and it's bouncing up and hitting the panels. So you're just getting all that. It's like if you're driving in the winter, right, and there's the snow, it's reflecting, it gets really bright. So it really works out well in the winter. We actually heat our home with electric space heaters in the winter. Believe it or not, yeah, we just use electric space heaters when it's, because you can't use all the power that the sun's producing. It's insane when it's on full. We have 4,000 watts of panels, but during the winter we'll pull in 4,500 watts, where in the summer we'll only pull in 3,200 watts. So, you know, because they're not 100% efficient typically, but that in the winter they're actually more than 100% efficient. So those are just some things with the winter. So yeah, you have to. Yeah, it does suck, but you got to go out there and clear the panels. But at the end of the day, you do get more power out of the panels when the sun is shining. So those are all things. But what other questions do you folks have? Otherwise, I think that about covers that. Hey, Herb, how's it going? I guess the only other thing I could tell you is you're thinking from a prepping standpoint, you probably want to be close to some water. We've got a creek on the property, so that's where we've got water, access to fresh water. Because, you know, in the apocalyptic type scenario, that's going to be important. So anyhow, but yeah, we're on our way. We're gonna get up in a helicopter and shoot hogs from a helicopter. So I don't know. I mean, my boys are excited. They're over there. We're driving through just, look at this. I don't know if you can see. Look at it. It's just rain. Just rain. Constant rain here. Been driving in rain since well north of the Twin Cities, and we haven't quite hit Des Moines yet, but it's rainy out. So you're living off the grid too, Herb? You know, I don't have a wood-burning stove. Interestingly enough, I looked into this. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Titan solar generator, Herb. The wood burning, I looked at that. I cut a lot of wood, you know, so it's, for me, I wanted to have a wood burning, but the issue was, since they've done all these EPA regs to them, the only ones you can get, I mean, they're so blasted expensive now to get that I just ended up getting a propane boiler that actually heats my hot water, and then I do in-floor heat, and so on. So it's, yeah, just saying, it just made more sense just to do the propane. So expandable batteries on Titan solar generator, Herb. All right, I'll check into that. I'll check that out. We're running Rolls Surrett, I guess they are. I don't know. My solar guy said they were like the Cadillac of batteries in the off-grid world. So we run some Rolls Surrett. They're just big lead acid batteries. But we're going to get some video of this hog hunting. I'll share that with you folks, you know, out of the helicopter, and then we're going to go out at night too, and a little bit during the day. So I'll try and get as much stuff as I can, and then we'll grill some up and see how it tastes. Anyhow, thanks so much for listening, folks. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.